Hi, I'm Nick, and on this episode of First Pour Wine, we're going to shout everything like we're on Top Gear. Actually, we're not. We're going to be talking about Rosé tonight. I was going to instead talk about an intro about how the Cavs are heating up. It's heating up in Cleveland, therefore you want something refreshing like Rosé. And instead, Chris Evans just shouted at me all through Top Gear, and that was all I could think about today. So instead, I've started off with him. So, we're not a motoring show, we're a wine show. So instead, we're going to be talking about Aime Roquesante and Rosé. So, why would you want to drink Rosé? Well, to start off with, Rosé is pretty accessible. Unlike certain whites and a lot of reds, Rosé doesn't really have any aging potential. You can't exactly take it, put it in your cellar for years, and hope it's going to get better. Rosé is meant to be consumed young. So, this bottle, for example, is from 2015. It's hard to get it any younger than that, which is basically last year. So, what are the other characteristics of Rosé? Well, if you drink it cold, it's incredibly refreshing. It's got lots of nice, fresh fruit flavors. There's not a whole lot of oaking, although there can be some. But generally speaking, it's fresh, it's fruity, it's refreshing when it's 90 degrees outside, which is what you want when you're sweating. And so it's a very nice way to spend a Friday evening, to have with lunch and a picnic. It's just the kind of wine you can easily kick back and relax with, which is what you want. So again, when you're thinking about Rosé, it's about having a refreshing, easygoing time. Not overthinking it, not overcomplicating it, just enjoying the wine itself. So, there's 3 keys that you might want to consider when you're having Rosé. Drink it young. Make sure that you have a big glass. You want to make sure there's plenty of room for the wine to give a little sniffy sniff. And then finally, drink it cold. It's not something you're going to want to heat up and enjoy warm. It's going to be something you want to refresh you. So, with that in mind, Aime Roquesante, which is about as good as my French gets, hails from the Côte de Provence. So it's going to be a little more old school, a little more old world. Let's see how it tastes. We're going to pour the wine. So totally unnecessary. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of not sorry. Anyways, I love Top Gear. So it is a nice pinkish color, except as you can tell with this one, it's a little more on the coppery side. If you look at it, there's a little bit more of an orange going on in there, which is nice. Let's give it a little sniff. Okay, so right off the bat, there's a lot of nice cherry and strawberry, the kind of things you'd want to expect from a wine like this. There's a little bit of minerality coming off the nose as well, not something you wouldn't expect. Let's give it a little taste. So, with French wines, like the Côte de Rome, there's something that they sometimes refer to and it's called garrigue. Garrigue has this very earthy kind of herbal note to it. So for example, it's kind of a scrubby, kind of like rosemary, thyme kind of flavor. That is laced all the way through this. So it's a very bright, lively wine with a lot of your typical orange and raspberry and a little bit of strawberry and cherry. But then it's got this strong garrigue flavor that runs through the backbone that gives it this kind of scrubby, kind of herbal flavor to it, which is nice. There's a little bit of salinity in there too, and the finish is kind of short. So all things considered, it's a very interesting old world kind of wine. That said, it's a little bit unbalanced with some of the brightness, and the garrigue note may be a little more distracting than you might hope for with a little bit of refreshment. So that said, I'm going to say this wine not bad. Good example of an old school kind of rosé. For those looking forward, not really where it's at, I'm going to give it about a 73. Perfectly average, perfectly nice Côte de Provence wine. Comes in a very slender bottle, but it's nothing standout, nothing going to blow you away. So, that's what all there is to say about this. I'm not going to shout at you anymore, I promise. But thank you for watching, and if you're not too offended by me imitating Chris Evans, please subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, give us some likes on Facebook. Want to hear you in the comments and get your thoughts, and try not to get yelled at too much for shouting at the camera like Chris Evans. Anyways, hope you've all enjoyed. Cheers.